Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Get the Most Out of ShareFile features webinar. I will let you know that Matt, Charlie, and I recorded this webinar earlier this week, but you are the first to see it. We will also be hosts on this webinar and answering questions in the Q&A. But my name is Ashley, and I'm one of your hosts today. I am a customer success engineer, and I've been with ShareFile for right around 6 years. Now I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Matt.
Hey everyone, it's me, Matt Embry. I'm a senior solutions engineer. I've been with ShareFile for about a decade now, but happy to demo these features and answer any questions that pop up in the Q&A. Charlie Brenson is our senior product manager who is not here. He's on vacation right now in Alaska, probably sleeping, but maybe catching some fish. So that's the reason that we had to do this recording. Anywho, happy to get started.
All right. First, we just want to say thank you for joining. Again, it's great to have everyone in here, and we'll go ahead and start by getting this kicked off. We're going to talk about branding, the new login page today. We're going to talk about projects and the new AI document request generator, as well as some additional AI and security features. So please buckle up and enjoy the recording.
Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie Brenson. I'm one of the product managers over in the ShareFile team. And today I'm going to be walking you through how to be able to customize the branding on your account to better match your company's brand. First, what we're going to do is take a look at what permission you would need to be able to brand your account. It's going to be a admin permission. So if you're already the master admin or the owner of the account like I am, you go ahead and inherit that permission just basically by being the master admin. If you aren't, or maybe you want to delegate it to another user, you go to the user profile underneath Browse Employees. This is a employee only permission, so clients can't do it. But then you would navigate down to the company account info section and look for edit account appearance. So this is the permission that once you have it, you can be able to then go make the changes necessary that we'll walk through here in just a second. So once you have that permission, you'll navigate over into the settings and then admin settings section. From there, you'll want to expand company account info, and then you'll see an edit company branding section. So this is going to take us over to the basic options for editing the account appearance, the account name, and the subdomains. So we're going to go ahead and do a couple quick steps here just to go ahead and get it set up, and then we'll navigate a little further into the advanced appearance options in just a minute. So today, I'm actually going to brand it after a fictional company that I'm creating for myself called Brinsanity Media. So this is going to be a new photography business that I'm working on. And so for the account name, we'll just keep it very simple as Brinsanity Media. And then for the page title, you'll notice up here where it says ShareFile, where companies connect, the page title is going to be updated here. So if you wanted to even make it so the Brinsanity Media or your company shows up here, you could be able to do that and even add a tagline similar to what ShareFile had done. And maybe it's let's see, what's a good one? Capturing your precious moments. It's very cheesy. Sorry for that, but that's all I can think of right now. So from there, we can go down and click Save. Once those changes have saved, you can now see that capturing your precious moments and Brinsanity Media are up there. So super easy way to do it. For the logo, one of the things that you want to make sure is that your logo actually meets the dimensions that are required. So it can't be any taller than 80 pixels and no wider than 400. So it doesn't have to be exactly 80 by 400. It just can't exceed either of those dimensions. So I went ahead and created a logo previously for this. So when I click on Choose File, um, this is going to take me over into my desktop so I can start choosing the files that I need. For here, I'm going to go and select Brinsanity Media, the header image that I've selected, and I'm going to go down and press Save. And you'll notice that once it finishes uploading, it's going to replace the ShareFile logo with the new Brinsanity Media logo that I created the other day. So super, smooth way to be able to do that. The one thing you may run into is just the dimensions. You just want to make sure that you're below these 80 pixels by 400 pixels, but you may need to be able to work with someone in your design department or someone like that if you're having any trouble with it. So the next thing you could be able to do is adjust the background color. Personally, for me, I like a white background color, so I'm going to keep that. It allows the good contrast, I think, of the text and everything else with it. And, I just don't have a certain background color that I was going to adjust with my logo. But for the accent color, that's actually something I want to make some changes to. Right now, there's this thin little line that's going to show up here. I could actually be able to go ahead and select an accent color for that. And I went ahead and had pulled my logo up and found a color that was in that matched up well. So part of the blue from the logo, I want to make sure is my accent color. So I'll go down and press save. You can be able to come in and be able to see this accent color now. So those are really those basic account appearance options that are easy to make. They give your account a really good feel to it. Um, and we'll pop into advanced appearance options in just a second. One thing I do want to showcase is the edit subdomain section. So if you had a subdomain, for instance, like brinsanitymedia.sharefile.com or .eu that you wanted to leverage, you could be able to add it here as long as it's not taken by another account. You could always be able to reach out to support, to the ShareFile support team to be able to inquire about a URL or something like that if it's being used, or maybe you had set up a trial previously for your account and you wanted to be able to remove it from the trial and be able to add it to your main account. That's something that could be done. But now when I save this, now I can be able to go to brinsanitymedia.sharefile.com and be able to access the site from here. If I wanted to, I could be able to switch it. So I guess I could, do some copy and pasting real quick. I could have probably done that a little bit easier in like a notepad document, but it should do the trick. So once I click save here, I've now moved this up to my primary. So all of the links and everything that are being created from the tools and various other things will now be coming from this subdomain. And then I could still use this one if I want to. That's actually what I'm logged into right now. So I'm not going to remove it, but I would need to go over to brinsanitymedia.sharefile.com, log in, and then I should be able to remove this subdomain. So a little tricky, but you can always reach out to the ShareFile support team and ask for some help with that if you need it. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is jump over into the advanced appearance options. And this is where we start seeing some things like the browser options, header, page, login page, and email. So as you can see, we've already got the Brinsanity Media, page title from the basic appearance options. So you can go ahead and keep that there. The favicon is this little icon here. I didn't actually build one for the site. I didn't know. I didn't actually think about it, but it's typically a 16 by 16 pixel icon that you can be able to leverage. It's like an ICO file. There's some generators on the web that you could be able to leverage if you need to. Excuse me. But that's something that I don't have today, but you can always leverage if you need to. It would basically just change out the ShareFile logo or the ShareFile favicon over to your own favicon. For the header options, we already do have that main logo that you could do. Personally, I like to use it or just upload the logo in the same spot for all of them. It goes ahead and actually uses it from that basic appearance options. I always just like to make sure that I have it here. Um, for me, I'm going to keep the text color as the default, so that way I can leverage the black text over there because that's what I like. But if you wanted to, you could, come over and switch it to blue. Actually, I might as well do that just to give a feel for the change. So I'll do it the same as that blue accent to kind of have this kind of blue aesthetic going on. And I'm not going to do a background image on the header just because that's something that, I just want to leave white. I think it just looks nice. So I'm going to go ahead and press save so that way you can see the changes made. So now we'll see the blue text has changed over here. And then we'll then navigate down to the page options. So this is just the accent color. We did it previously, so no reason to mess with that. And now we'll get to the new changes that actually existed in the old authentication page. the old login flow, but also we'll be working the new login flow. So I like to, as I mentioned earlier, just make sure I upload the the logo here. For the logo background color, I'm not really going to change anything. And let me actually show you what this site looks like real quick. So before I make any changes, I'm going to go over and just show you that it's got the Brinsanity Media logo now that it's been switched out for the ShareFile. But by default, without having any specific background colors or background images applied, it does have this checkmark image or checkmark graphic that comes from the ShareFile application. So what I could do is if I wanted to make some changes to that, maybe add like a custom background color, maybe I want to go in and add that blue background color that I've added everywhere else. Oh, that's a logo background color. Whoops. I will paste it down here. I could be able to go ahead and do that. So when I press save, we'll grab this again, open up the page, and now you can see once this loads up that the checkmark image will have disappeared and it will be replaced with a ShareFile logo and then a person welcoming someone into a house graphic. So if this is something that you're okay with, that works. If you want to get rid of both of these, there is a little trick that you can be able to do. Um, so that would be going back into the instead of having a background color, you could just choose a background image of whatever color that you would like, but you would just make a small graphic. Typically, it looks like I made 47 by 48, but basically a small square with that color applied to it. This could be done in Microsoft Paint or whatever thing that you need, but you basically create a small version of that image. So I'm going to select the small gray box here. I'm actually going to remove the background color so that way we don't have the blue. And then I'm going to press save. We'll go back over to the site. And from here, you'll be able to see that the background is now gray. There's no logo, and then there's also no graphic. So if you wanted to just have it be a plain color, that's something you could be able to leverage just by adding a small image into this. Um, for me, I personally like to even go a little bit further. I love a good background image. So instead of just choosing that small gray box, I wanted to have, since it's a photography business, I wanted to make sure that I had a cool graphic of a camera on there. So I'm actually going to use this media background image that I have from Brinsanity Media. I'll press save. And what this is going to do is now it's going to come over and apply. Let's see. Let me copy this one more time. And so this is going to go ahead and apply the new background image that I have, give just a more aesthetic of a person of an actual branded account for my company. It's got the logo, it's got the Brinsanity Media, and it's really all fitting well together. So now when my users come to the site, they know it's my photography site. It's got the Brinsanity Media logo, across the board. It really gives it a feel for actually being like my own account and the Brinsanity Media account, and not necessarily like just a kind of a generic ShareFile account. Really allowing you to label it and to privatize it for your company. Um, so very exciting stuff. So now that that's there, the last thing that you could be able to do would be the email options. So again, you'll probably want to use the same logo. I guess you could be able to tweak it if you wanted a different, logo being sent in emails versus the login page. That's up to you and your company if you want to do it that way. You can also add some header and some footer text, so that way it's placed at the bottom of, or the header or the footer of emails if you had any like boilerplate stuff that you needed to add. I don't personally have anything today, so I'm just going to leave it there. So these are really the steps that you could be able to take to be able to do this. Once you make sure you press save, you can be able to do this and everything will be live. And The last piece, I guess I'll walk you through, is just adding a profile picture. I personally enjoy this because it allows everybody else that's on my ShareFile account to be able to know who I am. They can see it from the name, but sometimes I like to just come in here and update, with a picture of myself, add it in here, upload it, and then when people are actually adding me to a folder, sending me a file, not only are they seeing my name, but they're also seeing the image that I have, and so that way they can connect a face with a name.
All right, let's jump in and talk about projects. If you're not familiar with projects, we're going to go over it really quickly, and then we're going to talk about a new feature that we've added in projects that can help us determine what documents we should be looking to collect for our specific project. A project is simply a more organized way to gather information as well as documents from either internal or external sources for a specific use case. If you're currently using folders to store and gather data from your sources, you can think of a project as a more organized and collaborative space to do the same. To set the stage, this project that we're going to look at is centered around onboarding a new nurse for a clinic, but projects can be utilized for many different scenarios. So let's take a brief look at a project and see some of the structural details within the project. So I'm going to go ahead and select this onboarding project for Donna Halpert. And the first thing that we're going to see is the Home tab. The Home tab, this is the main dashboard for the project. It allows you to see relevant information on the project, such as document requests, files, and comments at a glance. Next, we're going to see the Tasks tab. This is an area where you can create tasks for those assigned to the project. Each task can have a due date as well as a status selection. So in this case, we have Tom, which is a contributor. He's an employee on our account that's also going to work on this project with me. And we have a couple things for him to do and something for me to do, as well as the status and who it's associated with. Next, we're going to look at document requests. This is an area where we can request documents from an entity, internal or external. Any documents that need to be gathered can be created and sent to specific users in this area. Project owners or team members can approve or deny items uploaded into this section based on the data uploaded. Also, conversations or comments can be made between the requester and the assigned entity directly through this project. This removes the need for external conversations outside of the app where PHI or internal data can be leaked. When a document is requested, a notification will be sent to the user to upload the document, and they will be able to create their own account if they don't already have one and upload based on those permissions that they were given. I'm going to show you how to create a document request here in just a minute, but we're going to move on to our information request section. This area allows us to create custom forms to gather those internal or external entities, or to gather info from those internal or external entities. We can build forms from a form builder that allows us to gather extra ad hoc type information that we may not be able to gather from a document request. So in this case, I have an application review form for my coworker, Tom. And if I open this up, I built out this form for him to fill out. Okay, so we can see the questions that I created, and I can actually show you what that looks like here in just a second. But I'm just asking a few questions that are not on an actual document that he can fill out once he reviews the application from the candidate. And then I can also see his responses. So any information that he fills out on this form, I can actually see. And the same goes for the candidate. So if I was to send this form to the candidate by assigning it to them, they would then get this form and they actually fill out this form. And then whenever they submit it back to us, we would then be able to action on the responses that they actually
answered. So in this case, you can see this is the form builder. I have the ability to have all of these different fields that I can take and drop into this form. In this case, I'm not going to add any more fields, but you can see here that I built out this form, and it's super easy, drag and drop, and then you just fill out whatever you want here in order to create that form. And you can also make these all of these fields required or not. I'm going to go ahead and just click save. I'm going to require that field, click save. And then once I want to assign it to someone specific, I just click the assign button. And then in this case, this is for Donna Halpert. That's the candidate. So I'm going to go ahead and add her. Oh, let me go ahead and do that again. Yep, and then choose a permission, and I'm going to do assignee. So she will only be able to see this form on her end. She won't see the actual project. She'll just be able to fill out this form, and then once she does, I will get a response that I can then use to continue this project. But let me go back. So that's information request. Next, we're going to look at the Files tab. This is an area where you can add documents that you may already have for the project. It can be internal files that you may need associated with the project that you don't need to request from the internal or external entity, but maybe you already have on hand. Like in this case, you can see I've uploaded some files, Tom has uploaded some files, and then whenever the candidate's going through the process, I then can also send these files to that candidate. So for example, if the candidate is approved and I want to send a approval letter, I can actually select this and share it with that candidate to let them know that they have been approved and have accepted the position essentially for the job. So we have the ability to do that. Also, I will mention kind of a surprise. Tomorrow we will be releasing the ability to create folders in this space. Okay, so a lot of our customers have been asking for this, where we can actually have folders in the Files tab under Projects. So you can actually create folders and actually upload from a local space those folders that you already have associated in, a network share or something like that. You can actually just upload directly into here folders and documents in bulk. So that's going to be super nice to have, but that will be coming out tomorrow, and that should be released to everyone at that point. Next, we're going to look at the comments section. So anytime a user comments with an external entity or an internal entity on the project, it will be listed here. We don't have any communication back and forth right now on this project, but if we did, we would see all of those comments and where they're associated. So for example, if someone had a document request that they uploaded and they had some questions about it, they actually would comment on the document request, and then it would also show in here, because this is kind of a running list of the comments. And then lastly, we can create data tables. And what I did was I just created a expenses data table, and essentially this is where we can organize specific items that may need to be in a table form, but it still provides some information relevant to the project. So in this case, we have some expenses here for the onboarding. We have, different items that they're going to need, the price of them, when we ordered them, what the shipping status was, and maybe a link to their website where we can go order them. So we have this table filled out that we can utilize for this specific project. Okay, so I just wanted to cover projects in a really quick sense so that everyone had an understanding. Also, each one of these items can be created as a template. So if you had a data table you wanted to create as a template and use it on a different project, you can do that. You also have the ability to create templates of our document requests, our information requests, and the project as a whole. So if I wanted to use this employee onboarding project for multiple people, I can actually just clone this as a template and then assign it to a new employee that we're interviewing or a candidate, and then we could go through this whole process again. But only the actual document request, the information request, and the data table stay. None of the user information stays, and none of the files associated that they uploaded would stay. So it's a clean slate for you to use over again. All right, so now we're going to take a look back at our new feature in projects, and that is our new AI document request generator. We can use this to build out a list of documents that we may need for this project if we don't know, what we're already needing to gather. And I'm going to kind of show you what that looks like. So let's click Create a Document Request. We're going to create with AI. And then the request of this name, we're going to just say, Employee Onboarding Forms. We're going to say no due date. We don't need that. We're going to say healthcare because this is for a nurse. And I wonder if I can find... All right, let's do this. So for a registered nurse, we want to just say onboarding forms for a nurse to join our clinic. And then let's just see what items it generates. So this is going to be a list of items that the candidate would upload to us in order for us to, determine if they're qualified and would meet what we need for this role. So we can see a completed job application. We can see, their nursing license, their certificates, all of these little forms that we would need to kind of continue with this process. And if there's something that we don't want to include here, we can actually uncheck and just check the ones that we want to keep. And then we're going to go ahead and click Create Request. And that's going to bring all of these forms with their details into our document request field. Then what we can do is assign these specific document requests, these documents that we want to gather from our candidate, and then they would then be able to upload these documents. So I'm going to go ahead and assign this to Donna. She would get an email that she has to set up her account if she hasn't already, and then she would upload this document. So I'm just going to say assignee, we're going to assign it. And then once she gets in there and she uploads a document, like I said before, we have the ability to then accept that document or reject it. And we can also, like I was saying before, comment on that document. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, for example, this guy here, I'm going to add a comment. Please upload the... Actually, one second. I guess I didn't add this to her. Let's try it again. Assignee, assign. There it goes. Sorry, I missed it. I missed it the first time. All right, now whenever I go and I actually go to comment here, this comment will be only shown to her so that she can respond to it. Please upload this at your earliest convenience. Oh, I spelled that wrong. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and comment. And you can see it specifies that I was the one who initiated the comment, but she would then see this comment in her ShareFile account and be able to respond back to it. Again, outside of email, there's no need for PHI to be leaked anywhere. It can be all done within this app. And then once she uploads it, I have the ability to then accept or reject the files. And once I approve them, then they'll actually get added to our Files tab over here. Also, you can see that my comment gets added to the comment section. And if I wanted to go back to the comment specifically, I can actually click on the link that takes me back to the document requests. All right, that is all I wanted to show for the projects side of things. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Matt.
Thanks, Ash. So what I'm going to show is how ShareFile is securing your content, securing your users, and overall just securing the ShareFile account from anything bad, right? And that could be accidental sharing of sensitive information. It could be compromised credentials, things of that nature. So the first thing I'm going to show you is our AI assisted secure share recommender. So what this does is when a user creates a public share link or tries to share files with specific people via email, so either of or any of the options inside of here, ShareFile will analyze the content of the file and the file name to ensure that there's no PII. And what ShareFile is referring to as PII is personal information like social security numbers, passport numbers, driver's license, names, addresses. It can even mean financial information, so tax numbers, banking account numbers, geolocational information. So if it's a IP address or MAC address for the networking side, usernames, passwords from just a digital credentials standpoint. We're analyzing the content, and if we detect any of those things inside of a file on a shared document that's shared publicly, then ShareFile is going to recommend that that link have some authorization on the link or authentication on the link. So the users would have to sign into their ShareFile account before they can access it. So this way, if somebody gained access to that link, they couldn't just download that sensitive information. So how that works is whether you're in a folder structure or you're just doing it from the dashboard here and you go to share a file, when a file is uploaded, once I click continue here, we'll see the analysis take place. It's going to be very quick because this is a small file, but you'll see it here. And then after this, we're saying, or we're explaining that we detected some type of PII. So it says that this file may contain personal information, financial information, digital access credentials, and we recommend adjusting the security options for this link. Right now, what my options are is anyone can access this link. So it's a public link that anybody can access. So if somebody forwarded that link to somebody else, that person would be able to download that content. If we apply the recommended options, what this does is it makes it so that who can access this link is now clients and employee users after signing in. So those users would have to have a ShareFile account in order to access the content in this link. And the same thing happens where if I send this to specific people and we detect something, then the link or the file inside of this method would also have to require the recipient to sign in order to access. Now, in some scenarios, this might be something where you have company policies or you have a reason why this cannot be enabled. You can't have your content being examined in this way. And for those scenarios, we do allow the account to opt out of those settings. So if I go to settings, admin settings, advanced preferences, under file settings, I will have this secure share recommender, and you can just toggle this on and off. Now, I would recommend if you do have sensitive information on the account, just in general, that you set your default permissions so that this requires users to sign in, so that there isn't a scenario where like somebody just quickly makes a link and they're setting that link so that anyone can access it, as an example. You can also fully turn off the public options. So if you never have a scenario where you're sending a link that could be accessed by anybody, then you could just turn those options off altogether. But in any case, we give you the flexibility to choose how your account is constructed so that you can either set default permissions, you can fully eliminate those permissions, and then now you can opt out of the secure share recommendation. In this same sort of conversation around security, we have a couple of different scenarios that we're checking for to prevent users from being compromised in one way or another. So inside of the security tab, we have login and security policy. And this section here has, has a auto remediation portion. The auto remediation bit lets us check for certain scenarios, and if we detect one of these scenarios, we can take action without your administrator or your team having to take manual action to prevent these scenarios. So the first one here on the list is the impossible traveler. So this would be a scenario where somebody is connecting from a different country at an impossibly short time frame. So if they teleported basically to another country and then access the ShareFile account, we can have a policy in place where if we detect that, we immediately take action. We remove the account's ability to do anything, and we force a password change on that user's account. So they have to go to their email and reset the password in order to continue to use the account. Similar to that impossible traveler scenario, we have flags for high download activity, meaning that if we detect a significant increase in the rate of downloads, maybe it's a data breach, maybe it's just some type of unauthorized access in general, and we detect just a massive uptick in those downloads, then we can immediately take action. Again, we disable the account in a way so that the user has to reset everything in order to regain access. This does email the master admin. It alerts people so that everyone knows that these actions are taking place. So it's not something that like an administrator would have no idea that these things occurred. It does send out notifications to everyone involved just to make sure that everyone understands what's going on. And then the last one is access from a high number of IPs. So this is unique IPs. So if we detect that a user is connecting from multiple different IP addresses, unique IP addresses, and that's not typical for a user, then maybe that's some type of unauthorized access or a compromised account even. And again, we just disable the account so that, or like disable their ability to use the account until they reset their credentials. However, there are scenarios where customers do have needs, or maybe there's some type of automation that they've built where the account is connecting from multiple locations, and we can turn these on and off. It does prompt you with are you sure you want to do this? If you do, try to toggle these on or off, or toggle these off. But it does give you the option to control what we're looking at on your account, or like what is being looked for on your account. In the same, I guess, goal of this auto remediation idea, we also have security alerts in general. So the next setting down here on the security tab on the left. And these are very similar to like what we're looking for on a more of an account level, but this would be on a smaller scale for individual users. So this is going to send an alert to users when certain scenarios happen or certain events happen. So if a user signs in from a different country, right? Maybe they're just traveling, that's fine, but we would like to be alerted of it, or an admin team might want to be alerted of it. Then you can select this so that only the admins are alerted if a user signs in from a different country. Similar with if a user signs in from a different city or a different device, or using a different device. Now, again, these people could be traveling, or users could be traveling. So these aren't scenarios where we would want to make the user re-authenticate or make the user like prevent access in any way. This is just something like sending an alert to an administrator and the employees if you want them to, or in the clients if it's a client user doing it, that says, hey, we detected that you signed in from a different city on a new device. Same with these multiple failed login attempts. So this could be if, let's say like it's a brute force attempt, right? Somebody's just trying to gain access to the account. We'll send notifications to the administrators. We'll send notifications to the users themselves and say like, hey, we detected several failed sign-ins on an account, and admins can go and review and see what's happening on a user's account. The last one here is a suspicious file is uploaded to a folder. ShareFile is scanning for malware on any file that's uploaded to ShareFile. So when that occurs, if a file is flagged for some type of malicious content or suspicious content, then we can have an alert sent to administrators. We can have an alert sent to the person who uploaded it, just so that everybody knows like, hey, be careful of this file. And you can see all these things from an admin perspective if you go to a specific user. So let's say I got a notification, which I actually have one here from not too long ago on this account. So I got a security alert saying that there was multiple failed sign-in attempts. This is my test user. It gives me the time that this occurred, something like that. And I can go to the people tab. That was one from a while ago, but I think that's the only relevant one on this account. And if I go to that specific user, I have a tab for activity and security alerts. And if I go into that, I can see the history of the alerts that were triggered for this user. So if there were suspicious files uploaded or they accessed from a different country, as we saw in those alerts, they would show here as well. But in this case, I was just testing a little while ago with just failed login attempts just to have some type of content generated here. All in all, that's essentially what ShareFile is doing from like a learning standpoint of what's happening on the account or monitoring standpoint of what's happening on the account. It should give you peace of mind that if one of those scenarios occurs that we talked about, then something is happening on the account without an administrator having to monitor for these scenarios. Same with if a user is doing something or something happens to a user's account, we can have alerts sent for those scenarios. And then in the event that a user tries to share personal identifiable information in a public link, then we have the ability to recommend that that user put on some type of authentication to that link. Again, if as a company you just don't want to have those types of links being possible to be sent, then you could configure the account so that that isn't a concern entirely. I hope that helps, and we'll stick around for any questions.
Let me go ahead and move over to my ShareFile account, and we'll answer some of those questions that were in the Q&A section. I did want to mention a few things before we get into any questions. I know some of you were asking how to access the branding and advanced branding options. You would actually come into the admin settings here and then go into company account info and then actually down to edit company branding. You would need to have permission to this specific spot by your admin if you don't have access to this. But then once you get into the edit account appearance tab, you can actually select advanced appearance options here. And then that gives you that list of options that Charlie was talking about previously in order to update and get your account branded like you would like. I know that there were a few other questions about what if you don't see the projects tab on the left-hand side. If you don't see the projects tab on the left-hand side, it's due to your account being a license that is not a premium license. So if you would like to get access to projects or test it out, you should reach out to your account owner and ask them to get in contact with their sales engineer or their customer success engineer, and you guys can all work on getting access to those projects. I think we are doing some testing on advanced accounts and giving projects to advanced accounts at some point. So just be on the lookout for that as well. If you are getting or running into any issues with creating a project or you're getting an error on anything in your ShareFile account, please be sure to reach out to our support site. And I can show you that's just support.sharefile.com. And you would then be able to, down at the bottom right-hand corner, select the chat with us. Once you select the chat with us, you have the option to select technical support. And then you can actually reach out to them via that, and they can get in touch with you and continue to work with you on the issues that you're having creating projects or whatever issue you're running into there. Lastly, we do have more detailed project centered webinars that we've created. They are on our YouTube page. Please review that YouTube page and look at our previous webinars to kind of get a more in-depth look at our projects. Also, we will continue to make more webinars relating to projects as we continue to release features for that project space. And lastly, I just wanted to kind of go over templates because I know that there were some questions about, if you create a project or you create a specific template within a project, where do you go to access them and how can you use them again. So you would actually come to the templates section here, and you have the ability to then select, if you already created a template, you can select the project template. You know, in some cases, I have a document request template, some information request templates, and then you can also create e-signature document templates here. So lots of different options here. But in order to create those templates, you actually have to create a project first and then build out the specific template that you want. So for example, if I come in here to this project and say I've created this document request, I now have the ability to save it as a template. Once I save it as a template, then it would show in the template section. So just wanted to kind of run over a few of those trending questions before we actually look at any, specific here in the chat.
Actually,
Matt,
it
was
looks like,
there?
oh, I was just gonna say there looks like there's a question on demoing or showing, like, granting permissions to a specific folder. That might be a good time to maybe talk about distribution lists and how they can be leveraged in our folder structures.
Yeah, for sure. So if you want to have, a group of users on a folder structure and you don't want to individually add them, which is what we recommend. We recommend that you use a distribution group in order to add users to a specific folder structure. That way you're not adding and removing individual users immediately, or whenever they're, maybe moving roles or something along those lines. But you can actually go to the people tab and click on distribution groups, and then you can actually create a distribution group in here. And that distribution group is going to just be a specific group where you can add employees to it. And then if you wanted to go into a shared folder, let's go to this guy. And then we look at the people tab, we can actually add a group instead of individual users here. So let me show you kind of what that looks like. You can come in here and then we'll go ahead and click this little icon. It's going to bring up this box. We're going to go down to distribution group, and then that's where we get to add our groups to this specific folder. So if I do it like this, then all I have to do is add users and remove users from the distribution group instead of adding individual users to each and every folder in ShareFile to get the desired user list that I want. Hopefully that's clear enough on that topic. But I think it's definitely important that you use distribution groups if you're going to have a big folder structure. Just keeps everything clean and organized. All right. Matt, did you see anything else that we needed to answer in the Q&A just from the time that they've been posting here?
Yeah. I did see a couple of comments about they don't see the full set of auto remediation options that I showed in my piece. I'm not sure for like a technical reason on why they all wouldn't be showing. I know the feature is very new. Like, we just updated our documentation this week for it. So perhaps we did some type of tiered rollout and people aren't seeing it, but I'll check with the people on our side to make sure there's nothing going on.
Yes, and the other thing is it may be, like you said, rolling out here and there. If you just see the impossible travel scenario, then it's likely that they just haven't released these two because they are currently rolling those out. So that may just be what you're seeing. You should be able to see those here soon, though. Those should be released to our general availability very soon. All right. Let's see what else we have. You will again receive a copy of this webinar, but it's got to get edited and then it will be sent to you via email. So don't worry about that. You can go back and rewatch it if you so choose.
There's one you could do real quick of how admins can unlock a user.
Yes, yeah, we can do that. So essentially, if so let's go to our people, browse employees here. If a user was locked, you can actually come in here and there should be a unlock option, I believe, on the side. I don't have a locked user, so I can't really show that. but you should be able to select the actual user, and then any action that they have is specifically here. And then under the activity and security alerts, you can actually see a couple more options here, kind of in a more defined role here. You can remove users from your folders if they, were saw something that was alarming on the account. You can actually do that as well. So those are the account access options here, and you should, I believe, see that in the actions list here if they have a locked account title here. You would actually, down in the bottom right hand corner, you can see the ShareFile logo. If you actually select that, there is, not on my account, but because it's a comp account, but there would be a little a spot in here in the resource center that would allow you to, I can't remember exactly what it's titled, but you can select it and then it will give you information about your customer success engineer. I would definitely recommend utilizing that if you're having questions about, how to set something up in ShareFile. Maybe you have more questions on branding, or, you want to look into more of these features and you just have, some questions about standard operating procedures, things like that. Anything that our team can do to help you guys utilize ShareFile, that's what we're here for. So please utilize that resource center as well. It's got a lot of other good content in there, but utilize that for sure to get in touch with your customer success engineer. I just want to say thank you guys for joining the webinar today. And again, please continue to keep an eye out for these webinars. They're super helpful for you guys, as well as us being able to get out information to you guys. So please continue to join, and I'm gonna leave it off to Matt.
Thanks. Yeah, I echo what Ashley said. Thanks for joining. If you guys do have questions, use that option to contact your CSE, and it'll go to me or one of the panelists that you talked with through the Q&A today. And we're happy to help. So thanks again, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.